So the two problems are, one of them which is the disconnect between the business requirements and IT. Okay? We've heard in the question and answer session early on that requirements is one of the key issues. Yeah? You need to get the requirements right. But a lot of research has also shown that requirements is one of the major causes of project failure. Obviously, if you get the wrong ideas about what you need to build, it doesn't matter how good you build it. It's not going to use to anybody. Yeah. And so that is a perennial problem that has been reversed since day one of IT and is still here, whereby there's somehow a disconnect, yeah? Because what the users say they want and what we seem to be delivering seems to be different. Yeah? And generally when I talk to people in both camps, since I conduct sessions for management as well as IT, both camps blame each other. Right? Users don't know what they want. IT people don't understand the business which they are working for. And so how can we solve that problem? Can it be solved? And if not, what's the best trade-off? Yeah. The other issue, of course, is the perennial problem of the inability for us to integrate disparate systems. Yeah. Even new systems, okay, you've heard stories around town and all over the world, I guess, whereby once you have huge mega projects, yeah, even the same system seems to be having problems in integrating, yeah, in having some systems talk to each other. That seems to be a problem. With legacy systems, of course, the excuse is that, well, vendors don't support it anymore, nobody understands what it is. In my early days, I used to work for Marks and Spencer in England. And those were the days of assembly programming, and COBOL was the new thing then. COBOL was supposed to solve all the problems, common business oriented language, and of course we know that it did solve all the problems in the world. So then the issue was that if you have a legacy system, okay, chances are that nobody in the company now knows how to do that. How many of you have people in your company that knows how to write assembler programs? Okay, unless you have somebody more like us, some of us, chances are not. Right? So what do you do about them? So you just ignore them. Yeah? So trying to integrate old systems it's something which I think nobody has to want to do. What about new versus old? Because normally when we talk about legacy problems, we refer to the fact that I've got a new system, even from the same vendor, and I've got problems trying to make it talk to the old system, right, from the same vendor, let alone different vendors. So that's a big problem. And it seems that it's been reversed for so many years and it's unlikely to go away. Now, in fact, early on, the technical people were a bit worried. They thought they had done something to my slide, saying, hey, something disappeared from the slide. And it's deliberately left empty. Yeah? The purpose of the session really is not for me to throw pearls of wisdom at you and you absorb it. Right? The idea is to stimulate all of us to have a discussion. And this morning went pretty well, and I hope it gets even better later on. Okay? So the purpose of the session, as I said, is actually to see how can we approach this problem. Okay? We have to be honest as architects, in the sense that, and I guess architects are the most honest people in the industry, right? Compared to all the other kinds of people in the IT industry. Okay? So there are issues which we have no answers for. But if we have no answers for, it doesn't mean we just throw up our hands and say we can't solve it. We need to look at different approaches, right, that could possibly lead us to solving the problem. Yeah. This is just another kind of stuff. I won't spend too much time on that. Okay. If you talk about integration, and of course, one of the easy ways that people say we can ensure integration is buy everything from one vendor. Okay. And in these days of takeovers and mergers and splits and all that, the one vendor may not necessarily give you the same interoperability. And which version of the same vendor, of course. Building bridges, yeah. The other approach, of course, is to say that let me get some middleware, let me write some things to kind of connect, two disparate systems through common protocol, whatever. But then, is that really integration or is that interfacing? Yeah? So that's something to think about. Yeah? And we back to the same problem again when we try to do that, multiple vendors and multiple versions. Okay? So why are we not there yet? Okay? Issues to look at. Architecture, as all of us have realized very quickly, is that each of us architects, at least at some point in time, when we meet other architects, realize that, hey, he's got a different idea of architecture. Okay? We all agree that architecture is useful, is necessary, is very important. But again, what exactly is architecture? If I am a kind of communications architecture guy, then me trying to talk to you, an application development architecture guy, maybe common grounds for kind of agreement, but trying to share information may not be that smooth. Yeah? So when we get to the point where the whole world can have one single view, it's almost like saying that we try to get the whole world to speak the same language. Has any of you heard of the language Esperanto? It was supposedly a common European language that everybody was supposed to speak. That was kind of a bit odd in the early 70s when I was studying in England. Seems to have gone very quiet. So there seems to be some natural tendency for human beings to have different ways of looking at things. Yeah. And that may be